The fifth verse announces divine judgment with sudden force. There were they in great fear, where no fear was, for God hath scattered the bones of him that encampeth against thee. Thou hast put them to shame, because God hath despised them. Psalm 53, verse 5. The passage shifts from description to declaration. God moves from observation to action. The phrase, "There were they in great fear," describes the terror that seizes the wicked. The word "there" points to a specific moment and place. Their fear is not small or manageable. It overwhelms and paralyzes. It strips away confidence and exposes their vulnerability. The next phrase reveals the source of this terror. Where no fear was, no external threats exist. No danger appears on the horizon. Yet they tremble. This fear comes from within. It arises from a guilty conscience and spiritual dread. God plants it in their souls. This supernatural fear fulfills the curse pronounced in Leviticus 26, verse 36. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee as fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursueth. The wicked flee when no one pursues. They see enemies where none exist. Their own guilt becomes their tormentor. The verse continues with God's direct intervention. For God hath scattered the bones of him that encampeth against thee. The image is vivid and brutal. God does not just defeat his enemies, he scatters their bones. This phrase speaks of complete destruction and public humiliation. Scattered bones cannot be gathered for proper burial. They lie exposed to the elements and wild animals. This represents the ultimate disgrace in ancient cultures. The phrase, "him that encampeth against thee," identifies the enemy. These are not random sinners, but organized opponents. They establish camps and plan attacks. They array themselves against God's people with deliberate intent, but God intervenes. He breaks their formation and destroys their plans. He transforms their place of strength into a monument of defeat. The scattered bones testify to God's power and the futility of opposing him. Thou hast put them to shame. God brings public disgrace upon his enemies. Their boasting transforms into silence. Their pride becomes humiliation. Shame exposes their weakness and reveals their folly. This shame is not temporary embarrassment. It is a permanent disgrace, and it reveals the consequences of rebellion. It shows what happens when creatures oppose their Creator. The last phrase reveals God's attitude toward his enemies, because God hath despised them. The word despised carries strong meaning. God does not just disapprove, but rejects them with contempt. He treats them as worthless and vile. He regards them as objects of scorn. This divine contempt reverses their self-assessment. They considered themselves wise and powerful. They viewed themselves as self-sufficient, but God sees them differently. He looks on their rebellion with disgust and views their pride with disdain. This despising by God is the ultimate tragedy. Men can endure human rejection. They can survive social shame, but they cannot bear God's contempt. When God despises someone, no hope remains. The verse also reveals the security of God's people. While their enemies attack them, God protects them. While opponents plot their destruction, God defends them. The scattered bones of their enemies prove God's faithfulness.